Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Leigh Fuge, and in this video today we're going to be taking a look at the new Dunlop DVP5 Volume X8 pedal. The DVP5 is the latest offering in the line of DVP volume and expression pedals from Dunlop. The previous ones, the DVP3 and 4, were actually slightly bigger than this unit. This unit is actually only 8 inches long. This has been designed in conjunction with Pedal Train, so that basically if you're using a smaller pedal board like a Pedal Train Metro, this is actually spec'd up perfectly to fit on that board. Kind of like the Dunlop Crybaby Junior I looked at on the channel a few months ago, link for that in the top corner right now. So the DVP5 can do all of the usual volume pedal things, such as just using it as a mute or swelling things in and out. You can even use it to clean up a distorted amp if you want, and the expression pedal output is really cool because if you have a pedal that has an expression pedal sort of capability, you can use this to adjust some parameters in that pedal as well. This pedal uses something that Dunlop refer to as a low friction band drive. So what that means is as you're moving the pedal from the fully back to the fully forward position, the action is incredibly smooth. There's no sort of feeling of it skipping or jamming there. It's very smooth from the front to the back, and they've extensively tested the motion on this, I believe, to a huge number of times. So this thing is very, very unlikely to wear out on you. Most pedals that have a potentiometer of some sort will eventually suffer some kind of degradation through the pot being consistently moved, but this has been extensively tested to be sure that that's not going to happen anytime soon. If you get your hands on one of these, it's going to last a long time. So because it's now in this slightly smaller format geared up towards small pedal trains, all of the connectivity is now on the top. So we've got the input jack, which is where you plug your input, the expression out, so this goes to your whatever pedal you're using for your expression pedal sort of functionality. I have to say at this point, this has to be a TRS stereo jack. It won't work with a mono jack. There's a tuner out, so this is pretty cool. You could use this to mute your signal and send your signal to your tuner, so you could leave your tuner always on, push the pedal back, and then your tuner will be in use, and the output is just what you use to go through the rest of your signal chain. If you're using this as an expression pedal with another pedal, you don't actually need to route through the ins and outs. You can literally just connect the expression jack straight to whatever it is you're using the expression parameter on. And the other cool thing is this is completely passive, so you don't need to free up any additional power on your board. This does not need it. Everything happens through the sort of jack cables on the top. There's nowhere that you could even plug a 9-volt adapter in, even if you wanted to. One additional feature Dunlop did also put in, which is pretty cool, is inside the unit there is a little dip switch which changes the polarity. So out of the box, this sort of fully up position is considered off, and fully down is on. Likewise, if you're sweeping through effects parameters via the expression, this is minimum, this is maximum. But what you can do, which is pretty cool, is you can flip the polarity switch inside, and then in this position with the foot plate all the way forward, your effect parameters will be either at minimum or off, and also your volume will be off. And then in this position with the plate all the way back, it will be on or fully open. So you can flip around the way this works if you prefer to swell things backwards instead of forwards. So let's get this thing plugged in now and look at some of the features. Obviously, with it being a volume pedal, it doesn't have its own sound, but we will see what we can do with pairing it with other pieces of gear. Just want to say a big thank you to my friends at Dunlop for sending this along for me to check out for a few days. I've got this here on loan for a while, so I'm going to be having some fun with this. For this video, I'm using my Stanford Guitars Crossroad Thinline 30, which is a fully hollow ES330 style guitar, and that's plugged into the Hughes & Kettner Black Spirit 200. Black Spirit 200 is running out of the Redbox DI, which is built into the back of the unit, into my Focusrite interface. So there's no speakers in the room today. All of the tones are straight out of the back of the Black Spirit 200 with one of the built-in IRs. So the first feature we're going to look at is the volume functionality. Now this is great because you can basically use this to turn your signal on and off. So let's say you're playing a riff and you're about to stop for a measure. You don't want any amp noise, but maybe it's quite tricky to reach down and hit the volume control on your guitar. This is one place a volume pedal can be really useful. Batten in itself is a very simple way to use a volume pedal. It's literally just acting as a mute switch there. So when I've got it all the way forward, you're hearing my full uninterrupted signal, and all the way back you're hearing nothing because it completely cuts the signal dead. So that's really useful for a gigging musician if you need to just cut that signal dead, but like I said, you can't really reach down for the volume pot because, you know, maybe you've got a technical part coming up next. Having a volume pedal is incredibly useful because you can just hit it on the floor with your foot and you don't have to worry about taking your hands away from the guitar. So another thing you can do, which is pretty cool, is to do volume swells. So when you're playing, you can manipulate the pedal so you can play a note with the volume off and swell that note in. This can be really cool for creating some violin-like or pad-like textures. Another way a volume pedal can be a great utility pedal for gigging musicians is for people who use single channel amps, or just someone who wants to bring a bit of dynamic texture to their playing. You can actually use a volume pedal to clean up your amp a little bit, or just make your guitar sit back in the mix a bit. So let's imagine you're playing a riff, you're quite loud, and maybe the verse section is coming up, and instead of rolling the guitar down with the volume control on the guitar, you can just use the volume pedal to sit it back in the mix a little bit. You can also go quite clean with this. I've got it on a slightly higher gain sound on the Black Spirit 200, so it's not going to get super clean, but we can bring it right back and get quite clean. The risk with using it this way is you can easily kind of go too far back and mute your signal, but again, if you're careful and you sort of know around about where you need to pull it back to, it's quite easy to do. And if you really wanted to use this as a way to clean up your guitar, you could even wedge or stick something just underneath where the heel goes, so it doesn't actually go all the way down. So that's a really fun way to use it because you can manipulate the sort of overall gain level in real time. You can really control how clean or how driven the sound is just by pushing the pedal back and forth. Now obviously the higher gain the amp you're going into, the less you're going to be able to clean it up. But if you're using like a classic rock level of gain through a single channel amp, you could go from sort of a pseudo clean sound there to a full-on rock sound. You could even use this as like a lead boost where you could sort of set the pedal about 80% of the way forward and then sort of dial your tone in. Then you've got that extra kind of 20% there where you can really push your guitar forward in the mix. And the other great way we can use the DVP5 is to control parameters using the expression pedal output. So now I've got the DVP5 connected to my Boss MD200 multi-effects, and we're going to control a few different parameters. So currently the DVP5 is only connected via the expression jack. So the ins and outs are going straight through the MD200. The DVP5 is literally just a single jack out of the expression output into the expression input of the pedal. Like I said at the start, this has to be a TRS stereo jack, otherwise it won't work. So the functionality of this really does depend on what pedal you're plugging it into. On the Boss pedal that I'm using to pair this with, I do have quite a lot of control over different effects parameters and how I can use an expression pedal. This may be fairly limited or even more advanced, like I said, depending on what pedal you're pairing this with. So this is just a bit of an overview of the type of things you can expect to do. So I'm going to start off with a tremolo sound, and I've got the pedal set up to control the depth of the tremolo. So I can dial in a completely clean tone, I can start to add a little bit of tremolo movement, and then I can really go and add that full kind of choppy tremolo sound just by moving the pedal back and forth. So the next parameter control, I've got the MD200 set now to a rotary speaker type sim, and I'm going to use the DVP5 to control the speed that you're hearing the rotary move at. So in the heel down position, it's sort of the slowest setting I can get it, and then with the foot plate all the way forward, it's the fastest setting. This is really cool if you're playing something that needs that Leslie kind of feel, and you really want to get that sort of ramping up and down sound into your playing. And the final parameter that we're going to take a look at is on a chorus setting on the MD200, and I've now got the DVP5 controlling the depth. So the more I push this forward, the weirder and sort of wobblier the chorus sound is going to be. So I can dial it from a super subtle, just moving chorus to some pretty crazy stuff. So there you go guys, there is the Dunlop DVP5 Volume X8 pedal. This is a really cool utility pedal for anyone who either wants to control the volume going in and out of their signal chain, clean up their amp, or use an expression pedal to control some parameters on other units as well. Very, very versatile, and I think anyone who wants to get into that kind of setup but doesn't want to lose a ton of real estate on their pedal board, this is a great option because it's super compact. It's just 8 inches, but it's big enough that it feels like a full-size expression expression pedal. Dunlop do also offer some more compact expression pedals, which are probably like 5 to 6 inches in length, which is great if you really want to compact down on the space, but many players don't like the feel of a pedal that's too small under their foot. This actually is somewhere right in the middle between it being compact enough that you don't notice a huge amount of space go missing, but you don't compromise on the feel of a full-size pedal. So let me know down below in the comments what you guys think of this type of pedal. Are you guys using these kind of things to tame the volume in your own setups, or are you using them to control the effects parameters on different things? Like I said when I looked at the expression mode, this really does depend on what you're plugging it into and what you're manipulating. The Boss MD200 that I'm using this with does actually have a lot of functionality when it comes to expression pedal integration. I can really control a lot of different parameters through that sort of medium. You may have a pedal that just controls one parameter, so you may get some different results depending on obviously what you're pairing it with, but you'll still be able to use it in the same sort of manner. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. While you're down there letting me know about your own experiences with volume and expression pedals, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button as well, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thanks for watching.